Welcome to Core Concept HQ, where big ideas are simplified. Today we're breaking down the book, Lifestyle Business Playbook.
It is great to be back. And I have to say, this book felt less like a business manual and more like a necessary intervention for my own brain.
An intervention. Wow, that's a strong way to start. What do you mean by that?
Well, just think about the usual stuff we read about business, right? The articles, the podcasts, there's always this low-level hum of anxiety underneath it all.
Oh, for sure. The "you're not doing enough" hum.
Exactly. It's always about doing more, moving faster, breaking things, scaling until you either, dominate the entire world or have a complete nervous breakdown. The message is always that you're falling behind.
Absolutely. It's that sleep is for the weak school of thought. We all have this picture in our heads of what a successful entrepreneur is supposed to look like.
The 3 a.m. ice bath guy.
Totally. Wakes up at 3, 4, 5 a.m., plunges into freezing water, chugs some raw eggs, and then just grinds for 18 hours straight. And if you're not doing that, you're just, a hobbyist.
Right. You're not taking it seriously. And this book by Daniel Priestley, it basically just grabs you by the shoulders, looks you in the eye, and says, hang on, stop. What are you actually trying to build here?
Yeah, what's the point of it all?
Because if you build this incredible, massive machine, but it requires you to be a miserable, stressed out cog inside of it, you haven't won. You've actually lost. You built your own prison.
It just completely flips the script.
Yeah.
So today, we're essentially throwing the entire hustle culture playbook out the window.
Burn it.
This is not about becoming a billionaire who never sees their family because they're too busy with hostile takeovers. It's about the literal opposite of that.
Yeah.
It's about building a business that serves your life.
Not a business that consumes it.
And that's a distinction I think most people, especially founders, miss until it's way, way too late.
Oh, completely. They start a business because they want freedom, right? They want to be their own boss. And then 5 years in, they look around and realize they've built themselves a new job.
A harder job.
A much harder job that pays less and has an even worse boss themselves than the old corporate gig they hated.
The boss in the mirror is always the worst one. They know all your weak spots.
Yeah.
But, okay, before we get into the how, we really need to establish why we should listen to this guy.
The credibility, yeah.
Because when I hear lifestyle business, my mind, sometimes it goes to someone just scraping by, But Daniel Priestley isn't just some theorist sitting in an ivory tower, is he?
Not at all. And that's really why this book lands with such weight. Priestley has been there, done that. He has walked the walk. We're talking about businesses with 8-figure revenues.
Those serious businesses.
Very serious. He employs around 100 people globally, but, and this is the absolute kicker, he still drops his kids off at school every single morning. He takes month-long vacations where he actually, unplugs. He's not chained to his desk.
He's actually living the lifestyle part of the equation, not just the business part.
He is. He's lived through the boom and bust cycles. He's made the mistakes, so hopefully we don't have to. And look, the promise of this deep dive today is pretty massive.
Let's hear it.
By the end of this hour, if you're listening, you're going to understand how to use modern tech, a very specific team size, the sweet spot, and a fundamental mindset shift to gain 3 specific freedoms.
And those are?
Creative freedom, location freedom, and the big one, time freedom.
Okay, I'm in. Yeah. But to get how to achieve those freedoms, we have to understand why we don't have them in the first place.
We have to zoom out.
Which takes us right into our first section, the Great Shift. Because I feel like so many of us are operating with a completely outdated map of the world.
The map is not just outdated, it's for a different planet. We're trying to navigate the digital age with a map that was hand-drawn back in the industrial age.
Let's really unpack that. Because most of us grew up hearing a very specific script, right?
Right, yeah. The life script.
Go to school, sit in nice, neat rows, get good grades, go to college, get a stable job at a big, safe company, and then you retire at 65 with a gold watch.
And look, that script worked for our grandparents. Maybe it even worked for our parents. That was the perfect programming for the industrial age.
But it feels so suffocating now.
To understand why, we have to look at where that script even came from. It wasn't some, natural evolution of humanity. It was engineered. It was designed.
This is where the book takes this really fascinating historical detour. You're talking about the factory model.
The factory model, exactly. For the last 200 years, the primary economic goal of the Western world was to standardize human beings. Think about it. If you're running a textile factory in, say, 1890, what is the one thing you absolutely do not want from your workers?
Creativity, innovation. Anything that slows the line down.
You hate creativity. You don't want a worker stopping the assembly line to say, hey, I was thinking, why are we making the widget this way? I have a brilliant idea for a better color. That kills your efficiency.
You want a standardized component. A part.
You want a component that fits perfectly into the machine and does the same repetitive task over and over and over without complaint. You want a cog.
A compliant cog.
A compliant cog. And here's the thing. Where do you get compliant cogs? You can't just find them in nature. Farmers, for example, are way too independent. They work with the seasons, not a punch clock. So you have to design a system to produce them.
A school system.
A school system. And Priestley brings up this history about the Prussian military system that just, it blew my mind.
I love this story. It's Napoleon versus the Prussians. It sounds like a documentary on the History Channel, but it literally explains why our offices and schools look the way they do today. Break it down for us.
Okay, so wind the clock back to 1806. You've got the Prussian army. On paper, they are the best military in the world. They're disciplined, they're rigid, they have this massive, fearsome reputation.
The gold standard.
Totally. And they face off against Napoleon at the Battle of Jena Auerstedt. And Napoleon doesn't just beat them, he absolutely crushes them, wipes the floor with them. It wasn't even close. The Prussians were utterly humiliated.
But how? How'd they lose so badly if they were so disciplined and organized?
Well, that was the exact problem. Their discipline was their weakness. The Prussian system was built on this incredibly rigid hierarchy and blind obedience. If a general didn't give a specific, direct order, the soldiers on the ground just froze.
They waited?
They waited for instructions. Napoleon, on the other hand, he ran a meritocracy. His army was agile, it was flexible. If a field commander saw an opening, a gap in the enemy line, he took it. He was empowered to make a decision. He didn't wait for a letter from headquarters.
So agility and autonomy beat rigid hierarchy, a tale as old as time.
Completely. But here is the really dark twist in the story. The Prussians go home, they lick their wounds, and they ask themselves, how do we make sure this never, ever happens again?
And their answer wasn't, we need to be more flexible like Napoleon.
Nope. Their conclusion was the opposite. It was, we need soldiers who are even more obedient. We need to create a system that produces soldiers who follow orders instantly without a single thought.
So they redesigned their entire education system to do that.
They did. They created a compulsory public schooling system designed specifically to break independent will and instill absolute obedience. And think about the design of a traditional school. It's all there.
Rows of desks, all facing the teacher at the front.
Bells ringing to signal when to start working, when to stop, when to eat. Standardized testing for standardized knowledge. Silence in the ranks.
Asking for permission just to go to the bathroom.
It's all designed to create compliance. And then fast forward a few decades, and a guy from Massachusetts named Horace Mann visits Prussia.
And he sees this system.
He sees this system and thinks, bingo, this is it. But he wasn't looking for soldiers. He was looking for factory workers. The U.S. was industrializing at a rapid pace, and they needed a workforce that could tolerate the mind-numbing boredom and repetition of factory life.
So he imported the Prussian model to America.
He did. And that is genuinely terrifying when you realize we are, by and large, still using that exact system today.
We're sending our kids to schools designed to create 19th century factory workers. And then we wonder why they struggle to find their place in a 21st century creative economy.
That's the friction everyone is feeling. That's the hangover from the industrial age. We were all trained for a world that, frankly, no longer exists.
And that old social contract that came with it, it's gone.
What contract was that?
You know, the one where you surrender your creativity and your freedom, and in exchange, the big corporation gives you a pension and job security for life. That deal is off the table.
It's been ripped up. Large corporations don't offer security anymore. They offer what? Burnout, office politics, and the constant threat of layoffs. They still treat people like components, but now those components are seen as completely disposable.
So if the industrial age was about being a standardized component, what is the digital age about? What's the new currency?
Priestley uses a great word for it. He calls it vitality.
Vitality. I like that.
It's perfect, isn't it? Old businesses ran on drudgery. New businesses, the ones that are thriving, they run on human energy, on fun, on curiosity, and on creativity.
Because if a job is just boring and repetitive,
a human shouldn't be doing it anymore. That's the hard truth we all have to face. A robot or an AI will take that job and it will probably do it better.
You can't outboring a robot. They don't get tired. They don't need coffee breaks or complain about their boss.
Exactly. But you can out-create one. You can out-human one. The digital age allows small players, I'm talking individuals, small teams, to do what only giant multinational conglomerates could do before.
The playing field has been leveled.
Completely.
Okay.
Technology and capital are abundant and cheap. You don't need to build a factory to have a global business anymore. You just need a laptop and a good idea.
And we saw this whole trend just accelerate massively in the last few years.
Oh, it was the 1-2 punch of COVID-19 and then ChatGPT. COVID proved, once and for all, that we don't all need to be in the same building to get work done. It normalized remote everything.
And then ChatGPT showed up.
And it said, hey, you know all that expensive, time-consuming technical and creative work, like writing code or drafting marketing copy or creating images? I can do about 80% of that for you, for free, in 5 seconds.
So the barrier to entry for starting something new has just, it's basically collapsed.
It's gone. Which leads us to the new goal. It's not about climbing the corporate ladder anymore because, let's be honest, that ladder is leaning against a burning building.
So the new goal is building a lifestyle business.
Exactly.
Right, let's define that properly because that term can get a little fuzzy. This is section 2, defining the lifestyle business. I think some people hear that phrase and they immediately roll their eyes.
They do. They think it's not a real business.
Yeah, they picture someone selling like bead bracelets on Etsy or some digital nomad influencer who's actually broke and just pretending for Instagram.
And that's not what this is. It's definitely not just a side hustle. A lifestyle business is a serious, profitable, well-run operation. It's just designed with a completely different set of KPIs or key performance indicators.
So a traditional startup asks, how big can we get? How fast can we scale?
Right. A lifestyle business asks a different question. It asks, how free can we be? The entire thing is engineered from the ground up to generate those 3 specific freedoms we mentioned earlier.
The Holy Trinity. Let's walk through them one by one.
Okay, so first up is creative freedom. This means working on projects that you actually find interesting and meaningful. But maybe even more importantly, it means working with people you actually like.
That part right there is huge. People you like. Just think about how many people are stuck in offices right now, maybe listening to this, sitting next to someone they absolutely can't stand.
It is such a massive energy drain. Life is just too short for toxic coworkers or awful clients. Creative freedom is also the power to say no.
Saying no to bad clients.
Saying no to bad clients. Saying no to projects that don't align with your values. It's the ability to curate your entire professional existence.
I love that phrasing, curate your existence.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the second freedom?
Second is location freedom. And this is the one people usually think of. It's the ability to work from pretty much anywhere you want.
Priestley gives some pretty cool examples from his own life, right?
Yeah.
Like attending a pool party in Dubai while closing a deal.
Yeah, or skiing in the Italian Alps. But it's also just being in his home office so he can drop his kids at school.
That's a key point.
Yeah.
It isn't necessarily about being a perpetual nomad living out of a backpack, is it? I think people get hung up on the travel part.
Right. It's not about forcing yourself to travel. It's about having the choice. It's about not being tethered to a specific geographic coordinate in order to earn your living. If you decide you want to move to the countryside, you can. If you want to go visit your family across the country for a month, you can. The business supports that.
And then the third one, which you called the big one, time freedom.
This is the holy grail. This is the entire point of the game. It is about fundamentally breaking the link between hours worked and money earned.
That is the hardest mental shift for people to make, I think.
It's so hard because we are all deeply programmed by that factory model. In the factory, if you don't show up and punch the clock, you don't get paid. It's a one-to-one relationship.
Time in, money out.
In a lifestyle business, you build assets. You build systems, content, software, things that generate value even when you are not actively physically working on them.
Okay, I want to talk about a comparison Priestley makes here because it really drove this whole point home for me. He contrasts the typical successful founder, the one you see on the magazine covers, with the lifestyle founder. He uses Jessica Alba versus himself as the example.
This is such a powerful and telling story. So you have Jessica Alba. She founded The Honest Company. Massive, massive success on paper. Right?
Yeah. Billion-dollar valuation. She's on the cover of Forbes. She is the literal poster child for entrepreneurial success in that era.
Exactly. But if you look a little closer at the reality of that success, when the company IPO'd, her shares were locked up. She couldn't actually sell them for a long time. She was under immense, crushing pressure from investors, from the board of directors, from the quarterly earnings calls.
She basically got a boss again. Or rather, she got thousands of bosses, all the public shareholders.
She did. She had what you'd call paper wealth, but she was trapped in this super high-stress, high-stakes environment where she had very little actual control over her own time or her own creative direction.
It's the classic high-status, high-stress trade-off.
Right. Now, contrast that with Priestley. He has a group of smaller businesses. They aren't worth $1 billion on paper, but they generate millions of dollars in real revenue every year.
And he owns them.
He owns them 100%, or maybe with a few close partners. He has no outside investors breathing down his neck. There are no quarterly reports. He has liquid cash, he has total control, and if he wants to take the month of August off, he just does.
So the fundamental question the book asks is, would you rather be famous rich and completely stressed out, or quietly rich and totally free?
That's the choice. He calls it finding the boutique sweet spot. You don't need to be Elon Musk. Let's be honest, being Elon Musk looks absolutely exhausting.
Sleeps on the factory floor.
He has infinite stress. You don't want that. You want a business that funds your life, not a business that is your life.
Okay, so that really clarifies the what and the why. Now let's get into the how. How do you actually structure a business like this? Because the normal assumption is if a business is successful, it just keeps hiring more and more people.
And that's the path to misery.
Which brings us to section 3, the 4 to 12 person sweet spot.
This, for me, was one of the most counterintuitive and valuable parts of the entire book. We are all conditioned to believe that growth equals more people. It's just baked into our thinking.
Right. More revenue means more employees. It's a status symbol.
But Priestley argues very persuasively that there is a magic number for a lifestyle business, a perfect range, and it's between 4 and 12 people.
Why that specific range? Why not 3? Why not 20 or 30?
Okay, so let's look at the lower end first.
Yeah.
If you have fewer than 4 people, so, 1 to 3, you are probably doing almost everything yourself.
The classic solopreneur grind.
Totally. You might be the CEO on your business card, but you're also the janitor, the salesperson, the tech support guy, and the accountant. It's incredibly fragile.
If you get the flu for a week, the business revenue drops to 0.
Exactly. It's utterly dependent on you. It's exhausting. But once you get to about 4 people, something magical happens. You can start to specialize.
You can have someone who just handles sales.
Right, and someone else who just handles the tech side, and someone else who focuses purely on delivering the service or product. You have a real team. You have redundancy. You can actually take a vacation.
Okay, so I get why you need to get to 4. But once you have that team, why on earth would you stop at 12? Why not keep growing to 20, 50, 100?
Yeah, because once you cross that threshold of roughly 12 people, the fundamental human dynamic of the group changes. This isn't just a business theory. It's basic sociology.
Dunbar's number and things like that.
Kind of, yeah. Up to about 12 people, you can all comfortably sit around a large dinner table. Everyone knows what everyone else is working on. Communication is. It's osmotic. You just absorb what's happening because you're all in it together.
But at 13, something breaks.
At 13, 15, 20, you stop being a cohesive team and you start becoming an organization. You can't manage everyone directly anymore. It's impossible. So you have to introduce middle management.
The dreaded manager of managers.
Exactly. And at that point, you, the founder, stop doing the work you probably love, the creative stuff, the deal making, the strategy, and you start managing the people who manage the people who do the work.
Your job becomes meetings and spreadsheets.
Your job becomes HR. You need formal HR policies. You need an employee handbook. You need structured performance reviews. Office politics start to creep in because people are now competing for promotions and status within the hierarchy you've just created.
So that 4 to 12 range is the Goldilocks zone. Not too small, not too big.
It is. It's small enough to be incredibly agile, to have zero corporate bloat where everyone knows everyone, but it's also big enough to have specialized roles and get some really serious, high-impact work done. Priestley calls this the core team.
And I love how he describes the culture of these teams. He doesn't paint a picture of, corporate suits. He calls them rebels and misfits.
Yes. And that's so true. These are not your typical corporate drones who are just looking for a steady paycheck. The people who thrive in these environments often don't fit the traditional corporate mold.
They might have tattoos, or they work weird hours, or they have these eclectic, non-linear career paths.
But what they all have in common is high vitality. They're smart, they're driven, and they focus on outcomes, not on hours in the seat. They care about getting the job done, not about looking busy.
It's like the difference between a pirate ship crew and the official Navy.
That is a perfect analogy. A pirate ship is a lifestyle business. The Navy is a giant corporation. On the pirate ship, the captain knows every single crew member by name. They're a tight-knit group, and they all share in the booty. It's dangerous, but it's exciting and free.
And in the Navy, you're just a number. You're a cog.
You're just a cog following orders.
Okay, so we've got the ideal team size. Now let's talk about the money, because this is the engine that makes it all possible. How do you actually generate the wealth to have these freedoms without just working more and more hours?
This is the critical piece of the puzzle.
This takes us to Section 4, moving up the value ladder.
And this is so important. If you don't understand this ladder, you will always be stuck trading your time for money. You'll never escape. Priestley breaks it down into a hierarchy of value. Most people, and most small businesses, spend their entire lives stuck at the bottom two levels.
So walk us through them. What's at the very bottom, level 1?
Level 1 is unskilled labor. This is trading your time for money in a job where the supply of potential workers is basically infinite. Priestley tells this really funny story about his first job at McDonald's.
Oh, is this the sneezing story?
Yes. His first day of training, they literally taught him how to sneeze correctly. The manager took him aside and said, with a completely straight face, "We have a system for everything here at McDonald's, including snoozing."
That is peak industrial age thinking right there. Standardize the sneeze.
The official procedure was, turn head to the left, bring up the crook of your right elbow, and sneeze into the elbow. It's hilarious, but it reveals the core mindset. If your job can be taught to someone in 5 minutes, you are infinitely replaceable. You have zero leverage.
Okay, so that's the bottom. What's the next step up, level 2?
Level 2 is skilled labor. This is where most professionals live. You're a lawyer, a doctor, a graphic designer, an accountant. You have a valuable skill that took a lot of time and money to acquire.
So you get paid more per hour?
You get paid a lot more per hour, but you are still fundamentally trading your time for money. And there's a hard ceiling on that. There are only 24 hours in a day. You can't bill for 25.
And the competition is global now.
It's ferocious. Thanks to the internet, if you're a graphic designer in Ohio, you aren't just competing with the guy down the street anymore. You're competing with a brilliant designer in Manila or Buenos Aires who might charge a fraction of your rate.
So how do you break free from that?
You have to make the leap to level 3, intellectual property or IP.
And the mantra for this is pause, reflect, document.
That's the whole game. Most skilled professionals are so busy doing the work, just running on the hamster wheel, that they never pause to think, hey, I just solved a really tricky problem for that client. How did I do that? Can I turn my unique process into a checklist, a framework, a signature method?
It's about taking the knowledge that's trapped inside your head and putting it into a format that can exist without you.
Exactly. Once you document your process, it becomes an asset. It becomes your IP. And once you have IP, you can move to the next level, level 4, media.
And media is basically cloning yourself.
It's the ultimate form of leverage. If you write a book, record a podcast, or make a series of videos explaining your IP, that media goes to work for you while you sleep. It creates a digital version of you that can teach and sell to thousands or even millions of people at once, 247.
The source material gives a great modern example of this shift. Ali Abdaal.
Ali is the classic case study. He started his career as a junior doctor in the UK's National Health Service. That's high-level skilled labor, level 2. High status, for sure, but the hours are grueling. He was trading his time directly for a salary.
But on the side, he started making YouTube videos.
Right. While he was working on the hospital, he started making videos about how to study more effectively for medical school and then about productivity in general. He was moving up the ladder. He took his know-how about learning, which is his IP, and turned it into videos, which is media.
And eventually, the YouTube channel just took off.
It became so valuable and so profitable that he quit medicine entirely. Now he makes millions of dollars a year. He has total time and location freedom, and you could argue he helps far more people with his content than he ever could have one-on-one as a doctor.
And he's not on a hospital ward, completely stressed out of his mind at 3 a.m.
Not anymore. Another great example is Jesser, the basketball YouTuber. Think about his options. He could have tried to become a pro basketball player. That's skilled labor with insane competition and a short career span.
The tiny fraction of people make it.
Instead, he just started filming himself having fun playing basketball with his friends. He skipped level 2 and went straight to level 4, media. Now he makes millions, has a blast, and employs a small team of his friends. He's not playing the game, he owns the broadcast of the game.
That's such a key distinction. Okay, so what's at the top of the ladder?
The top 2 levels are data and technology. Data is about owning your customer list, your email list, your audience. That's an incredible asset. And technology is about using software or AI or an app to deliver your value at massive scale. If you can combine your unique IP with media to attract an audience, data to own that audience, and tech to serve them, you have a true lifestyle business that scales without you.
That's the formula right there.
Yeah.
But, okay, you've built this valuable thing. You can't just sell it to everyone, right?
Yeah.
That seems to be the other big trap people fall into.
It's a huge trap.
Which brings us to section 5. Niche down the affluent customer.
I'm just going to say it. The mass market is dead. Or at least it is a terrible, terrible place for a small, boutique, lifestyle business to try and compete.
Why, though? Intuitively, it feels safer. Why not try to sell to everyone? More potential customers, right?
Because the mass market is a brutal race to the bottom on price. If you try to create a product for everyone, you are immediately competing with Amazon, with Walmart, with giant corporations that operate on razor-thin margins and massive volume. You cannot win that game as a small team. You will get crushed.
You need profit margins to have a lifestyle.
You need healthy margins. So you don't go broad. You go narrow and deep. You go to the affluent niche.
Let's define affluent here, because it doesn't just mean selling to billionaires, does it?
Not at all. It can mean people in the top 10% of income, sure. But more often and more powerfully, it means people who are deeply passionate about a specific hobby or interest. People who spend what might seem like irrational amounts of money on the things they love.
You give the example of the guy who drives a beat-up 20-year-old Honda Civic.
But he has a $10,000 carbon fiber racing bicycle strapped to the roof rack.
Exactly.
To the rest of the world, that guy looks like he's broke. But within the niche of serious cycling, he is an affluent customer. He values that bike. He buys the best gear, the best nutrition, the best coaching. He isn't looking for the cheapest option. He's looking for the best result or the best feeling.
The book uses Esther Perel as a case study for this, and I think she's just a fascinating example because therapy is usually seen as a commodity service.
She is the ultimate example of niching up to create a new category. She's not just a therapist. If she were just a therapist in Miami, she would be stuck on level 2, trading time for money, competing with every other therapist in the phone book.
She'd be fighting with insurance companies over reimbursements.
A nightmare. Instead, she brilliantly positioned herself as the world's leading expert on a very specific, very painful, and very high-stakes problem: infidelity and the loss of desire in long-term relationships.
And not just for anyone.
Not just for anyone, but primarily for high-net-worth couples. Think about it. The stakes for those people are enormous. A divorce for a billionaire isn't just an emotional crisis, it's a billion-dollar financial transaction. It's messy, it's public, it's incredibly expensive.
So paying Esther Perel a huge premium, maybe 30 or 50 times the normal rate for therapy, is an absolute no-brainer for them.
It's a rounding error compared to the cost of the problem she solves. She solves a specific, high-value problem for a specific, affluent audience. And she doesn't need thousands of clients. She only needs a handful.
And because she has books and podcasts, the media-level clients find her. She's not chasing them.
The demand is inbound. Now, there's another concept here called manufacturing demand. It's not just about supplying a product, it's about creating the want for it.
The example here is the clothing brand, Daewoo.
Yeah.
It's for teen girls. On the surface, you could say it's just hoodies. Hoodies are a commodity.
You can buy a hoodie at Walmart for $10. Why would anyone pay $80 for one?
Because Daewoo doesn't sell hoodies. They sell a vibe. They sell an identity. They sell the lifestyle that you see on their TikTok and their Instagram. It's European summers. It's a carefree attitude. It's a cool aesthetic. They use media to manufacture the desire. The hoodie is just the physical souvenir of that vibe.
That is how you escape the commodity trap.
Yeah.
You're not selling cotton, you're selling a feeling. You're selling identity.
Okay, so we've got the niche, we've got the value ladder. But who is the face of this? Who is selling it? This brings us to section 6. Be a key person of influence, or KPI.
This is such a huge mental shift for the digital age. In the old industrial economy, we trusted business brands. You trusted IBM, Coca-Cola, Ford. You didn't really know or care who the CEO was.
But that's completely flipped now.
Completely. Now people trust people. We want to see the face behind the logo. We follow Elon, not just the Tesla corporate account. We connect with Oprah, not just the Oprah Winfrey Network.
I feel like a lot of people have a real block with this, though. They hear personal brand and they cringe. They think, I don't want to be an influencer. I don't want to be taking selfies of my avocado toast. It feels narcissistic and gross.
And that is a totally valid fear. A lot of personal branding is narcissistic and gross. But Priestley reframes it in a way that I found so helpful. He says, the mindset isn't look at me, it's look at
Oh,
this.
I like that a lot. It's not about you. It's about the idea you represent.
You're not the star of the show. You're the spotlight operator. You are shining a bright light on your work, on your team's amazing results, on your methodology, on a better way of doing things in your industry. You're the guide, not the hero.
So how do you signal to the world that you are a KPI? How do you prove you're a guide worth following?
The book outlines 4 key signals. The first is publishing. You have to put your ideas out into the world in a durable form. Books, blogs, podcasts, a strong YouTube channel. There's that crazy stat from the source. 78% of the guests on the Diary of a CEO podcast have written a book.
That is such a wild statistic. It really is the entry ticket to that level of the game.
It signals authority. It says, I have thought about this topic deeply enough to organize 60,000 coherent words on it. The second signal is pitching. Can you articulate your value clearly and concisely in any situation?
Your elevator pitch.
Exactly. Third is your profile. When people Google your name, what comes up? If the answer is nothing, you're invisible. If it's a professional-looking LinkedIn page, a personal website, and some articles you've written, you're credible.
And the fourth and final signal.
Partnerships. Who are you collaborating with? Who is in your network? You are known by the company you keep. Joint ventures, podcast jesting, collaborations, they all build your authority.
And when you get all 4 of these signals working together, the entire dynamic of your business flips on its head.
Completely. You stop chasing clients. Clients start finding and chasing you.
And that is the ultimate freedom, isn't it? Inbound demand. When you wake up to an inbox full of people asking to work with you, you finally have the power to choose. You have the power to say no.
That's creative freedom in its purest form.
Okay, so let's imagine you've done all this. You've built your awesome 12-person team. You're in a great niche. You're making fantastic money. You have the 3 freedoms. Then comes what might be the most dangerous moment of all.
The moment of success.
Section 7, the trap of endless growth.
This is where so many brilliant entrepreneurs completely ruin their lives. They build a perfect little paradise, and then they pave it over to build a parking lot.
The temptation is just so real, isn't it? The ego kicks in. If this 12-person team is good, then a 50-person team must be even better. If we're making $2 million in revenue, let's go for $10 million.
It's the ego talking, and it's societal programming. The warning from Priestley here is stark. Growing past that 12-person sweet spot puts you in a dangerous no man's land. You lose the lifestyle. You transition from a lifestyle business into a performance business.
And what's the difference? What is a performance business?
It's a machine that is built for one thing and one thing only: growth. It's not built for lifestyle. To fuel that growth, you almost always need to take on outside investors.
And once you take their money,
you have a board of directors. You have quarterly growth targets that you must hit, or you can literally be fired from the company you founded. It's immense pressure.
you've essentially just built yourself another high-stakes corporate job.
You have. And Priestley's advice is blunt. Unless you have the ambition and the stomach to go all the way to scale to 50-plus people and aim for a $100 million exit, do not go past 12. Stay in the boutique zone. Protect your freedom.
This requires a skill that most entrepreneurs don't have. It requires defining enough.
Which is a philosophical challenge, not a business one. It's about introspection. Success in this model is reaching a point where more money does not materially improve your day-to-day quality of life.
The book gives that great example of the coaching couple who only have 12 clients a year.
Yes, just 12 clients. That's their entire business for the year. They work intensively for 3 weeks a month, and then they take the 4th week completely off to travel.
You're not flying private jets.
No, they fly economy. They drive normal cars. They aren't trying to impress anyone on Instagram with Lamborghinis or Rolexes, but they have zero financial stress and total absolute freedom over their time. They have reached enough.
That sounds like winning to me.
That is winning. And the advice for what to do with the profits is also counterintuitive. Once the business is stable and profitable, don't just pour all the money back in to make it bigger and bigger.
You take the money out.
You take the money out and you diversify your life.
Yeah.
You invest in other asset stocks, real estate. You invest in your health. You invest in your family. You invest in hobbies. You don't let the business become your entire identity and your entire net worth.
I love that. Use the business as an engine to fund your life. Don't let the business be your life.
That's the whole playbook in one sentence.
All right, this all sounds amazing in theory. But for someone listening who is maybe stuck in a corporate job. How do they actually start? We can't just snap our fingers and have a 12-person team.
No, it's a process.
Section 8, practical steps to start, the playbooks. Priestley outlines these distinct phases.
Right. You don't just jump straight to the end goal. There are stages to go through.
And phase 1 is called the apprentice.
This is for people who haven't started their own thing yet. And the advice is, again, super counterintuitive. Don't start a business. Not yet. First, go work for an entrepreneur.
Go learn on their dime.
Exactly. Go get a job inside a small, fast-growing company. See the chaos from the inside. Understand how sales are made, how products are launched, how teams are managed. The most famous example of this in history is the PayPal mafia.
Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, Reid Hoffman, the YouTube founders.
All of them. All these titans of Silicon Valley worked together at PayPal first. They weren't all the original founders. Many were early employees. They learned the playbook for building a tech company at PayPal. Then they left and founded Tesla, LinkedIn, YouTube, Yelp. They learned the game before they tried to play it solo.
So the advice is, if you're young or just starting this journey, find a founder who is running the kind of lifestyle business you admire and just offer to carry their bags.
Be their executive assistant. Be their first salesperson. Just get in the room where it happens. The education you'll get is worth more than any MBA.
Okay, so after the apprentice phase, what's next? Phase 2, the fire starter.
This is when you launch your own thing. It's usually a very small team, maybe just you or you and a co-founder, maybe 1 or 2 early helpers. And the goal here is pure, unadulterated, move fast and break things.
You're just trying to get something off the ground.
You are trying to generate cash and leads. That's it. It's messy. It's chaotic. You're working long hours.
So this is the hustle phase, but the key is that it's temporary.
That is the absolute key. It is a phase, not a permanent lifestyle.
Yeah.
You do this to get the initial momentum, to prove the concept, to get product market fit.
And once you have that momentum, you move to the final phase, phase 3, the core team.
This is the destination. This is the promised land. You stabilize at that 4 to 12 person sweet spot. You start implementing real systems and processes. You use AI and automation to handle all the boring, repetitive stuff. And most importantly, the founder starts to consciously step back.
You move from being the grinder to being the figurehead.
You become the KPI. You provide the vision, the strategy, and the public face for the brand. The core team provides the day-to-day execution. And that is the moment you finally achieve the 3 freedoms.
It's a clear roadmap. It's not a lottery ticket. There's a process.
That's what I really appreciate about this book. It's not just manifest abundance or think and grow rich. It's practical. It's here's the organizational chart. Here is the economic model. Here is the ideal team size. It's business engineering, not magical thinking.
So let's bring it all together as we wrap up. The goal is simple. Build a business that funds your ideal life. You do that by using digital assets, content, code, your IP, to replace your own manual labor.
And you sell those assets to an affluent niche that values what you do so you don't have to compete on price.
You build a personal brand around it so you're seen as the go-to person. You keep the team small and agile, that 4 to 12 sweet spot. And you have the wisdom to stop when you have enough.
And if I can just add one final thought. We are living in such a unique and privileged window of history. This kind of business wasn't really possible 50 years ago. The technology didn't exist.
And it might be much harder 50 years from now when AI is running almost everything.
Exactly. But right now, today, the tools, the software, the platforms, the AI are either free or incredibly cheap. The internet connects you to billions of potential customers. The only missing ingredient, the only thing the technology can't provide is your vitality.
Vitality, there's that word again.
Your human energy, your creativity, your curiosity, your drive to actually make it happen. The tech can do the work, but it can't provide the spark. That spark has to come from you.
That's a powerful way to end it. It's not about trying to work harder than the machine. It's about being more human than the machine.
That's the whole game.
I think that's the perfect place to leave it. A huge thank you to Daniel Priestley for writing Lifestyle Business Playbook. It really is a game changer. And hey, if you're listening to this and you're feeling stuck in that old factory model, maybe it's time to start sketching out your escape plan.
Start designing that core team.
Thanks for listening. And remember, this is Core Concept HQ, where we simplify powerful ideas to help you live smarter. See you in the next summary.